If there's one thing you should take away from today's video, it's to never ever look up to anyone on social media. What could be lurking behind the scenes? Maybe something you would never want in your life. We're talking about Australian influencer couple Gracie Piscopo and Andre Rebello. What's wild is that I used to follow this couple. I understand the appeal. They were perfection. Two incredibly good looking people with a lavish lifestyle, all the fine things in life, and add a gorgeous child. It's everything someone would want until you find out what was really going on. It's gonna make you sick to your stomach. Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Zara, and on this channel we talk about true crime. So if you're interested, please join the fam, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button too. It really helps out the channel. And share the video if you find it interesting. Gracie Piscopo was born on June 10th, 1996 in Perth, Australia. I believe her parents are Maltese Australian, but I couldn't really find any more confirmed information on her family, but I do believe she has a sister. So Gracie is a big social media star. She's a model and a vlogger. She gained a really big following when she was in her early 20s, and she shares all things lifestyle, fashion, and beauty on her YouTube channel and her Instagram page. She started her Instagram page in June 2013 and her YouTube page in July 2014. And she started out posting travel vlogs, beauty, and lifestyle videos. And then she got pregnant with her son in 2018. So then started documenting that journey. And I feel like that's when her following really grew. The content she posted was very aesthetic, very unrelatable, really. So people love to see that. Gracie has also modeled for Khloe Kardashian's brand Good American, which another popular Australian influencer named Tammy Hembrow has done in the past. And she gets a ton of brand deals, and that's how she supports herself. In 2014, Gracie began dating longtime friend Andre. She had known him since high school. He was always kind of around, but she had a boyfriend during high school. Then once she ended that relationship, she got in touch with Andre again and then began messaging him on Facebook until he eventually asked her out on a date, and then they began the relationship. Andre and Gracie's relationship moved pretty fast, with the couple moving in together shortly after they became boyfriend and girlfriend, and that was that. Due to Gracie's social media following, Andre too got in on the fame. I mean, they were the perfect couple. Andre was typically a good-looking guy, fit like Gracie. I guess he matched her perfectly. They began sharing pictures and videos online. Andre would appear in Gracie's travel vlogs and a day in the life videos. Gracie had more than 1 million followers on IG and over 300,000 followers on YouTube. It was a great following, which led to a lot of opportunities in her life. Early in the relationship, as explained by Gracie in one of her videos, Andre was still in uni and he was also working at a construction firm 6 days of the week. But as time went on, I'm guessing he saw the limelight and the fame and the opportunity. So he kind of stopped doing the construction stuff and was mainly involved in cryptocurrency trading. And that's it. I mean, that's not bad, but ladies, we need a man who's motivated and willing to either take care of us while we have the kids, or who at least is motivated in being a provider and actually works for it together with us, right? So also authenticity. Cryptocurrency is fine if you work hard at it, but the problem is Andre was terrible at it. He wasn't good at predicting the market. He wasn't good at getting back what he put in. They soon got engaged. Andre proposed to Gracie sometime in 2018. Around the same time, Gracie found out she was pregnant with their first child. And in February 2019, Gracie gave birth to their incredibly cute baby boy, Romeo, and celebrated their 5th anniversary in October of 2019. She shared much of her pregnancy journey, including a gender reveal where they popped a balloon to reveal that they were having a boy. The perfect family photos then were shared on social media along with their amazing trips. I mean, the life of an influencer, right? Like, how great does it look? I guess Gracie was the one truly funding the lifestyle. However, even though Andre only played a supporting role on her channel, they did work together to secure deals, and people loved seeing the two of them together. By 2020, Gracie was hitting big deals and making over six figures. But how long can that last? However, Gracie absolutely loved Andre and the family that they built together. In many posts Gracie shared online, she would declare her love for Andre, saying, "You make me feel so loved, and I'm so blessed to have someone as special and beautiful as you in my life." Another one said, "You hold the biggest spot in my heart, and there is not enough words in the universe to describe how much you mean to me. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you." She would describe Andre as having the purest heart and the most beautiful soul, that he had filled her life with indescribable joy, and she was crazy about him. In a Q&A video on YouTube, she talked about how she couldn't be luckier to be with such an honest, funny, and loyal man, how they didn't hide anything from each other and were both honest and open with each other. So let's talk a little bit about Andre. So his full name is Andre Zachary Rebello, and he was born in 1996 to his mother, Colleen Rebello. He had three siblings, Fabian, Monique, and Julian, and his mother raised all four kids as a single mother. I'm not sure if his father, Antonio, was ever involved in their lives, but I'm guessing he was at some point because she had four children with him. So Colleen, his mother, was known to be a hardworking, determined mother. She worked nights at a supermarket and went to uni in the day to study health admin and biomedical sciences. She did everything for her kids. She was really kind, she made friends easily, and was known to be a genuinely good person. So Andre was raised well in a good family with a mother who would do anything for her kids. And sadly, in 2020, something horrible happened to the Rebello family. On Monday, May 25th, 2020, Andre's youngest brother, Fabian, he got in the car with his mom, Colleen, as she would be driving him to work at the local supermarket that morning. It was 10 a.m. and Fabian said bye to his mom and that he would see her later when she would pick him up once he was done with work. So at 2 p.m., Fabian waited outside the supermarket and called his mom a few times. She hadn't arrived yet and he was wondering where she was. A little while later, he knew something was wrong, so he ended up walking home. Fabian arrived at their home in the affluent suburb of Bicton, Perth, and searched for his mom. He could hear the shower running in his mom's room, so he went in there to ask her, what happened? Why didn't you pick me up? As he called out to her, she didn't respond, so he walked up to her bathroom door and he knocked, but there was no answer. At this point, he was pretty worried, so he decided to go in, and what he saw will probably stay with him forever. His mom was laying motionless inside her shower on her knees, slumped over and leaning against the shower wall with the water running all over her. He rushed over to her and phoned 000 at 2:40 p.m. They gave him instructions on how to perform CPR on his mom until the ambulance arrived. Fabian pulled his mom out of the shower, lay her in the middle of the bathroom floor as he performed CPR. But despite numerous attempts to save his mother, Colleen was pronounced dead 5 minutes later when the ambulance finally arrived. Fabian recalled that her face was very blue and dark and she had vomity blood in her mouth and her skin color was normal. He then grabbed a towel and popped it over his mother as he didn't want her lying there fully exposed. Soon after this tragic event, Fabian had to tell his siblings, and he was then joined at the house by a police officer, his sister Monique, his brother Andre and Gracie, and their eldest brother Julian. He lived in Sydney, so it took him a while to get down to Perth. That night, Fabian stayed at Andre and Gracie's home as they lived nearby in Beaconsfield, and the entire family just sadly took comfort in each other, not really processing that their mother had just died. The police determined there was no clear cause of death. Maybe it was just due to one of her medical conditions or something random. As the family dealt with the aftermath of their mother's death, life for Gracie and Andre carried on, as most will understand has to happen. You have to keep living life despite all the terrible things that happen to you. Losing a parent isn't easy, but social media was Gracie's job. Although I don't know how often she posted, I ended up looking at her channel and there seems to be only one vlog in May 2020 posted, but then it also looks like some of the content resumes in July 2020, but I also think a lot has been deleted here and there. So I'm guessing she continued on with contracts and her videos as planned. But Gracie's content was what supported their lifestyle. They showed off trips to the Maldives.
Hi babies, welcome back to my channel. But yeah, we are here now. It is stunning. We've just got our bikes delivered. We're gonna go get some photos and there's this wishing tree.
Driving a blacked out Range Rover, moving into a gorgeous, massive home with perfect white furniture, posing in bikinis and having these fit bodies while eating all the good food. While Gracie posed in her perfect outfits with her favorite designer bag of the minute. And I'm saying that to give you an understanding of the life these influencers have to portray. The perfect problem-free life where money falls off a rainbow and you have everything you've ever wanted. Despite his mother's death, life on socials has to be perfect, even if it's not perfect behind closed doors. And while at first these two don't seem connected, sadly, they are. Colleen's death was deemed a tragic, natural event at first, until it wasn't. You see, Julian, her eldest son, was the executor of his mother's will and dealt with the financial side of things after she died. The siblings had an equal share in their mother's estate, which they would then receive once they sold her Bigton home. But soon the police were notified of some suspicions regarding Colleen's death, but the police were confused because it seemed like an open and shut case. Although she had some medical conditions, they were all fairly minor or treatable. She had an underactive thyroid, low bone density, and gastritis, but all of this was being managed by a doctor, and Colleen was actually quite conscious of her health. She had minor anxiety but wasn't depressed, nor did she have any enemies. Like I said, she was a kind, friendly person. Colleen was particularly close to her daughter Monique, who still lived with her along with her youngest son Fabian, and Julian, her eldest, lived far away in Sydney, and then Gracie lived with Andre nearby. So Monique was her mother's support, and she was close with Fabian too, but often argued with him regarding his diabetes and medication he had to take. Julian was very independent and not really around, and Colleen was quite distant with Andre, but she loved all her kids equally. Despite being stressed at times about finances and keeping up with the mortgage, Colleen had a lot to look forward to. She had just started a new job and had a new baby grandson to live for. Colleen's distance with Andre stemmed from his lifestyle, really, as is the case with many people from the generation above us. They don't really understand social media, and that was Colleen. She didn't get it. She didn't really like the fact that her son was kind of just living a life with no real path. Yes, he was working in cryptocurrency, and she was proud that he made a whole $22 off it at one point. But in reality, she was like, okay, where is your life going? Also, the fact that they lived so lavishly, yeah, social media paid them a lot, but their spending was also on par with how much they made. They traveled multiple times a year in lavish locations, had lavish luxuries at home. It's understandable for a parent to worry. However, Colleen wasn't wrong. Although Gracie really was the one in a more financially stable position, the amount she could pull in on deals, if she really needed to, was a lot. Whereas Andre was going through some difficulties. The lavish life they lived, while mainly funded by Gracie, swallowed all his money up. While Gracie was skyrocketing, I'm not sure if they fully shared all their finances because Andre was failing in his cryptocurrency investments and had paid for his social media followers. He had racked up his own debts, huge debts. He was not in the best of positions, and the pressure was building. The police were alerted by insurance companies when Andre contacted them trying to claim money off his mother's death. No. I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. We don't think he did what we think he did, right? Well, that's what the evidence was pointing to. Andre's actions following his mom's death were then investigated, and what was discovered is truly sickening. Although it was the insurance company who alerted the police, Andre's brother Julian was unraveling pieces of the puzzle behind the scenes. He was aware of his brother's strange and surprising behavior following the death of their mother. Julian stayed in Perth for about 2 months after his mother's death to sort out her finances. He began looking through her records to see what needed to be done and kept documents together with her cards and her IDs. So he was pretty organized about this whole situation. And one day he realized his mother's driver's license had gone missing as he was on the phone to one of her superannuation companies in which he needed her ID. Then Andre mentioned to Julian that their mother might have had a life insurance policy with ANZ OnePath during an email exchange between the two of them. And Julian was a little shocked because he didn't know Andre was also looking into their mom's finances because there was no need for him to do that. Julian was taking care of everything. Julian then tried to call ANZ to find out more information about this supposed life insurance policy, but he had zero information, so he couldn't get any more information from ANZ directly. So he asked Andre, hey, can you give me the policy number, etc. But Andre was like, no, sorry, don't have it. And then he kind of just ghosted him. Julian then tried to speak to the coroner's office regarding his mom's death, but when speaking to Fabian, his brother, he was told that the coroner's office already spoke to Andre. He knew this because Andre took the call as the two brothers were getting a haircut. Julian was then like, so he texted Andre. He was like, why did you speak with the coroner's office? And Andre said, checking to see what they can do to help with the insurance issue. Julian, thought this was pretty strange once again. And then he got 2 notifications from Australia Post about redirecting the mail from his mother's house, which he did not request. So he thought they were being scammed and he messaged all his siblings in a group chat. In this group chat, he was kind of like, the mail's been redirected. Have any of you guys requested this or are we getting scammed? Andre then responded, yeah, did yesterday. Thought it made sense in case there's mail in a few months and we need to sell the house. Do you want it cancelled? Did it when I renewed mine from my old rental. Maybe a bit spontaneous. I should have asked. So again, Julian thought that was weird, but then he assumed that Andre cancelled this request because Julian continued living in his mom's home during the time he was sorting out her finances and he could receive any mail that came to that house. And again, it's weird because Monique and Fabian still lived at the property too and they hadn't made any arrangements to sell the house yet, so this was a bit premature. 6 weeks later, once Julian believed the finances were sorted out, he went back to Sydney where he lived. Soon after, Monique rang Julian concerned. She had just gotten a phone call from their mom's psychologist, Narina Sidhu. Narina told Monique she was a little concerned about her brother's phone call to her. Monique was like, what phone call? Turns out Andre had been calling Narina, asking her to send a letter to Colleen's insurance company saying she wasn't suicidal and her death had been accidental. Narina was like, hello, who the hell are you? She had never met Andre before, and all he seemed to be doing now is just sending these urgent messages and calls to Narina to sort out this insurance issue. Narina offered condolences on his mother's passing, but all Andre wanted to do was talk about this insurance policy. Andre called Narina 21 times in 4 days between July 7th and July 10th. It didn't sit right with her. He then continued making numerous calls, kindly requesting she speak with the insurance company and that it was somewhat urgent. But Narina wanted to meet with Andre in person, and he failed to show up on one occasion. However, he did show up at her home while she was gardening, and he brought young Romeo with him. Narina refused to speak with him. Then Narina learned that the insurance company somehow got emails from her. she knew falsified documents had been sent to the insurance company using her name. So she sent a text to Andre stating, "I am very concerned about these acts of fraud and will be making a report to the police. I am not sure who has done this, but I'm letting you and Monique know about the situation." Andre replied, "Hi Narina, I appreciate your concern, but I never sent any emails of the sort. I only told them what you told me, but I never claimed to be you. We are all aware of the claim, so nothing is fraudulent. Please call me if you like." So when Narina called Monique, the sister, to let her know what was happening, she was concerned Andre had been submitting falsified information to an insurance company. Julian immediately called Andre, but Andre just said, "Oh no, maybe Narina is confused. It's totally a misunderstanding." The reality was that Andre was in dire financial trouble. He had lived his life on credit. He had a personal loan and a credit card debt of more than $40,000. Debt collection agencies were pursuing him in the months leading up to May 2020. At that point, he must have thought his world was closing in around him. It was later found that Andre took out 3 life insurance policies totaling 1.5 milli against his mother in the week before her death. Days after Colleen died, Andre started the claims process to access this insurance money. He submitted forged documents to one of the insurers, including false medical information about his mother, a coroner's report, and her last will and testament. All of this was fake. The act that was really the most conniving was this voicemail message that was left on one insurance company, AIA's number. And the voicemail seemed to have been left by a female in a very robotic tone. And it said, "So sorry it's taken a while to call back. Just on a morning walk and I'm very busy today, so we'll be quick. I can confirm my email information for Colleen. She only saw me for general counseling, nothing serious, and she certainly wasn't suicidal at all. I hope this helps the Rebellos claim. Andre has told me about their current financial struggles, so I am hoping for this to work out for them. Have a great day." After investigations began, Andre's computer was searched, and they found searches for fake voice generator and best online deepfake voice. The insurance company was suspicious about the claim and contacted the police, who later arrested Andre in November 2022 and charged him with fraud and murder. Gracie was getting her nails done when police called her to inform her of their suspicion. As you can imagine, the impact and devastation this caused to Gracie's life would have been mind-blowing, to say the least. Gracie and Andre ended their relationship in late 2022, with her focus remaining on her son, Romeo. After nearly 4 years of investigations, Andre went on trial in late 2024. So what happened that day? In court, Andre admitted to being at his mother's house on the morning of her death, and he arrived there at around 10:45 a.m. He admitted to taking out 3 life insurance policies, but not for his benefit, for his mother's. He claims she asked him for help just on May 1st, 2020, in taking out these policies as she was getting closer to 60 years old. She was worried, about cancer, and with COVID floating around, she wanted her kids to be taken care of. He claims she wanted $1.5 million in insurance so that the mortgage and her kids would have enough money to sort out their lives if anything happened to her. But his siblings knew nothing about these policies, and surprise, surprise, all of these policies listed Andre only as sole beneficiary. He told the jury how he had no idea how his mother died, that he was only there to talk to her about the policies and to drop off some clothes for Fabian. So how, tragic and convenient it was for these life insurance policies for his mother to literally die the month she took out these policies. Cell phone tower data placed Andre at his mother's house around the time she was suspected to have died, and the prosecution claimed that he was there for more than an hour. giving him plenty of opportunity to kill her. However, Andre denied that, claiming he was only there for a short while before having to leave after realizing he had many missed calls and messages from Gracie, so he needed to head home immediately. And missed calls he did have. The records showed that Gracie tried to call Andre more than a dozen times between 11:10 a.m. and 11:35 a.m. She also sent several messages, which went as follows. 11:16 a.m. Answer your fucking phone. 11:16. Where are you? 11:25. Oh my God, I swear to God, Andre. Do you not have a phone? What is wrong with you? Answer for fuck's sake. I'm fuming at you. I'm so angry. When Gracie testified in court, she told the court that she was so frustrated at the time, that he always had his phone on silent and she couldn't reach him and she got really angry. They had plans for lunch that afternoon, but when he disappeared, she attempted contacting him numerous times. When he finally showed up at lunchtime, there was nothing unusual about him, according to Gracie. Initially, Gracie told police that Andre was at home during the time of the murder, and later said that she didn't think it was relevant given he was charged with fraud. She later stated she was not trying to cover for him, that she cared for him as the father of her son, and everything she did was for her son. Gracie is not believed to have been involved in any of Andre's plans or actions. The prosecution claimed that Andre was just trying to keep up with Gracie, who was this successful influencer, but was unable to repay his debts. The couple had a combined debt of $121,000 and funded their glamorous lifestyle with personal loans and credit cards with very little money in their savings account. I don't know how much of that is true, but that was what was reported. That all of this was fuel for Andre to come up with a get-rich-quick scheme that involved the murder of his own mother. After an autopsy was conducted, the prosecution's witness believed that Colleen died of asphyxia, that she had blood spots on her eyelids that would be present with asphyxia, CPR, a chest injury, or neck compression. So it's quite wide, alleging that Andre could have put her in a chokehold without leaving any marks on her neck. But the defense witness claims that the injuries found on Colleen's body could have been, from anything like her collapsing and blocking her own airway, or the CPR that was conducted by Fabian, as the injuries found on her did not cause her death, that she had no defensive injuries like, anything under her fingernails or, bruises that she would have normally had if she was attacked by Andre. But then on the other hand, they said that there were injuries found on her face and body, including bruising and an abrasion on her eyebrows, along with some bruising and abrasions on her hands, arms, and legs that could have come, from a blow to her face or compression to her face with a pillow. So there was just like a back and forth of could have been this, well, could have been that, the evidence points to this, it could have, been that. So it was a bit inconclusive. The court was also told Andre was communicating with a real estate agent in July 2020 about a potential buyer for his mom's Bicton home, but Julian in court told the jury that he knew nothing about the potential sale, and the home was eventually sold a year later in 2021 for $1.15 million. And each sibling ended up getting like $126,000 in inheritance after the house was sold. Andre argued that he never killed his mom, that he rushed through and pursued these insurance claims because he believed his mother committed suicide and wanted the claim sorted before they ruled her death as not an accident. Because I believe the insurance companies do not pay out if the death is not accidental. So if it's murder or suicide, they won't pay you. Andre said that the mistakes he made, like making himself sole beneficiary, putting his address and numbers down to be contacted for the insurance policies, were all due to him being sleep deprived from having a 1-year-old baby. That his mom was pressuring him about all these policies, but there was no evidence ever found of them ever discussing these policies. So it was just his word that we had to believe. After deliberating for almost 2 days, the jury found him guilty of the crime. He is now likely facing a jail term of life. His sentencing will take place in April of this year, 2025. I'm sure Andre's siblings have been living, in a state of shock, knowing that their own brother is accused of doing this to their mother who was kind and giving and gave her life to her kids. It's so, so tragic. The crazy thing is, okay, so I was looking into this a little bit further, and Gracie could make $100,000 from one brand by posting a few photos in a week of that brand's clothing. She could ask for $5,000 to $40,000 a post on IG. She got gifted free goods, trips, and flights. They were once given an all expenses trip to the Maldives to make a YouTube video. I mean, someone pay me to go on a vacation. Damn. Yes, content creation isn't easy most of the time, but is it back-breaking labor like working at an oil rig? No. Through financial planning, they could have not been in severe debt. Even getting out of debt. I'm sure if he confided in Gracie, she could have easily taken on more deals and easily gotten them out of debt. She loved him. I reckon she would have been on board and understood the situation. I mean, it wasn't just him living the lavish life. She would have known somewhat, or, I'm sure if he spoke to her about it, she would have agreed to cut down on costs. You know what I mean? Like, just talk about it. But at the same time, we don't know what goes on in other people's lives. Who knows if Gracie even knew about their debt? I know people can really fool you. And when you're in love, everything is just rosy. And sometimes when you're so used to putting out this idea of perfection and luxury and lavish and my whole life is amazing, you might not see your issues yourself. You're constantly so invested in what other people are thinking about you and what their image is of you. You may not know reality from online, They also had a 1-year-old at the time, and if Gracie was the primary carer, I can see how she turned a blind eye to finances. A lot of women end up doing that when they have kids. I actually feel really sorry for Gracie that her life was turned upside down by Andre's mistake. And I'm not excusing Andre's behavior if he is guilty, but it really was a mistake. He didn't think this one through. Gracie has now found love again, and I believe she's engaged, I think, and she continues to be the social media star she was meant to be, and hopefully she and her son can be happy and now make a life of good memories. What do you guys think about this case? Have you heard about it? I feel like it's now kind of popping up on social media a little bit more. The first time I heard about it was back in early 2023. So I feel like now, a couple of years later, it's coming out. And I guess once he's sentenced, which I'm so curious if what his sentence is going to be. It's so sad. It's horrific and so sad for the Rebello family as well as Gracie and her son Romeo. It's how do you tell your son, hey, your dad killed your grandma? It's wild. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Hope to see you next week in next week's video. Besitos. That's my son. Yeah. I love you too.